Imagine a football match that begins as a beautiful dream, evolves into a ruthless masterclass, and ends in absolute uncontrollable violence. A game where historic records are shattered, a player is rushed to the hospital in tears, and rival coaches are ready to literally tear each other apart on the pitch. Welcome to Total Football Nexus. Today, we are diving deep into the most chaotic, unbelievable, and historic 90 minutes of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, Canada versus Qatar. What happened at BC Place in Vancouver was not just a game of football. It was a psychological thriller, a masterclass in attacking dominance, and a complete meltdown of sporting discipline. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you will be left completely speechless. To truly understand the sheer madness of this match, we have to rewind and look at the intense psychological pressure weighing down on both teams. Canada is a proud sporting nation, but one completely starved of World Cup glory. Before this unforgettable night, they had never, ever won a match on the main stage of a World Cup. 0 wins. Just decades of heartbreak and disappointment. Now, stepping onto the pitch as the host nation, the expectations were absolutely suffocating. Every single Canadian fan in the stadium was holding their breath, terrified that this might just be another night of shattered dreams. On the other side stood Qatar, a team desperate to prove their worth, desperate to erase the humiliating memories of their disastrous 2022 campaign on home soil. The tension in the stadium was incredibly thick. You could literally feel the anxiety radiating from the packed stands. The referee blows the whistle. The game begins, but Canada does not look nervous at all. Under the tactical brilliance of head coach Marsch, they look utterly lethal. They press high, suffocating the Qatari midfield, refusing to give them a single second to breathe. And then, the 16th minute arrives. The entire stadium goes dead silent as the ball finds Ismael Kone. Kone does not hesitate for a fraction of a second. With a brutal, clinical, and picture-perfect finish, he smashes the ball into the back of the net. 1-0. The stadium absolutely erupts. Years of pain, years of painful waiting, instantly erased by one swing of Kone's right boot. Canada is finally leading a World Cup match. The massive psychological barrier is finally broken. But my friends, this was just the appetizer. Enter Jonathan David. If Kone gently opened the door, Jonathan David completely kicked it off its hinges. The Qatari defense is scrambling, looking completely overwhelmed by the terrifying speed and relentless aggression of the Canadian forwards. In the 29th minute, David finds his moment. He reads the game perfectly, exploits a massive gap in the panicked defense, and strikes with pure venom. 2-0. The crowd in Vancouver is deafening. You can actually see the sheer panic setting into the eyes of the Qatari players. They are not just losing a football match, they are being systematically dismantled on global television. The tactical setup is falling apart in real time. When a team feels entirely powerless, frustration quickly takes over the human mind. And in professional football, uncontrollable frustration leads to reckless, game-changing decisions. We reach the 33rd minute. Tajon Buchanan is flying down the wing, looking like an absolute nightmare for the Qatari defenders. Homam Ahmed, completely out of tactical options and running purely on anger and sheer desperation, lunges forward. He commits a horrific, dangerous tackle that has absolutely no place on a professional football pitch. The referee does not even need to think about it. He reaches straight into his back pocket. Red card. Qatar is suddenly down to 10 men in a World Cup match against a host nation that is playing like a team possessed. The psychological blow is absolutely massive. Deep into first half stoppage time, at 45 plus 3 minutes, Jonathan David strikes again, making it 3-0. Qatar is mentally destroyed before the halftime whistle even blows. But if you think this was the worst part of the night for Qatar, you are completely wrong. Something much darker, much more violent was waiting in the second half. what exactly triggered the total destruction of this match? The second half kicks off, and the atmosphere inside the stadium has completely shifted. It is no longer just a joyous celebration of a historic victory. It feels like a relentless hunt. Qatar is playing with 10 men, desperate to simply survive the remaining 45 minutes without completely destroying their global reputation. But football is a ruthless sport, and sometimes utter desperation turns ugly, very ugly. We reach the 53rd minute. Ismael Kone, the young, dynamic heartbeat of the Canadian midfield, receives the ball. Before he can even react, Qatar's Asim Madibo launches into a tackle that will make any football fan absolutely sick to their stomach. It is a brutal, calculated, and malicious strike. Kone collapses instantly. The horrific scream echoes even through the deafening noise of the roaring crowd. The referee immediately stops play. The medical team sprints onto the pitch in sheer panic. The cameras quickly pan away, but the damage is already done. Kone is not getting up. As the young star is carefully strapped to a stretcher and rushed directly out of the stadium to the hospital, the referee walks over to the VAR monitor. He takes one solemn look, returns to the pitch, calls Madibo over, and flashes the second straight red card of the night. Qatar is now down to just 9 men. It is an absolute catastrophe. But for the Canadian players on the pitch, the focus quickly shifts from shock to pure, unadulterated revenge. Head coach Jesse Marsch makes a crucial substitution. Nathan Saliba steps onto the pitch to replace his hospitalized teammate. The tension is incredibly thick. Canada wants to make them pay, not with violent tackles, but with relentless goals. And in the 64th minute, absolute poetic justice is strictly served. Saliba finds the loose ball in the penalty box and fires a spectacular shot into the back of the net, 4-0. But it is what he does next that makes the entire stadium erupt in emotional tears. Saliba sprints to the sideline, grabs Ismael Kone's spare jersey, and holds it high above his head for the entire world to see. A powerful, highly emotional tribute to a fallen brother. By the 75th minute, the Qatari defense is mentally and physically broken. The defensive structure is entirely gone. A fast cross comes into the box, and in a moment of pure panic, Mohamed Manai helplessly deflects the ball into his own net. 5-0, a devastating own goal. But Jonathan David is not finished writing history just yet. In the 92nd minute, deep into stoppage time, Jonathan David strikes again, making it 6-0. The phenomenal hat trick is officially complete. Let's pause for a second and realize what Jonathan David just achieved. He became the first Canadian in history to score a World Cup hat trick. He's only the second player outside of Europe and South America to achieve this incredible feat since 1930. Canada instantly became the first host nation to score 6 goals in a game since 1978, and Qatar secured the dark, embarrassing record of being the first Asian team to receive 2 straight red cards in one match. The referee finally blows the final whistle. The game is over, but the war is not. Jesse Marsch walks to shake hands with Qatar's manager Julen Lopetegui. Words are aggressively exchanged. Lopetegui points an angry finger. Marsch does not back down. In a split second, both benches clear entirely. Players, assistant coaches, and staff flood the pitch. Fists are furiously raised, and complete chaos reigns at BC Place. Security forces sprint across the grass, violently pulling angry men apart. It was a night of historic football, ruined by a bitter ending. If you want to understand how intense football rivalries can truly get and the secrets behind these legendary clashes, I've broken down another unbelievable story. To know more about this, click the video popping up on your screen right now and watch it immediately.